Today we're going to talk about Lux Algo price action concepts. If you guys don't know, Lux Algo is an incredible technical indicator, and it is one of my favorite. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down one of the updates that they recently released to one of their most core technical indicators. That is none other than Lux Algo price action concepts. Let's dive right on into it. Probably shouldn't lose that. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump onto it. Guys, this is a really great technical indicator, and I'm going to tell you why. I love Lux Algo. You guys know it. But my favorite part of my most familiar part of Lux Algo is the actual Lux Algo premium technical indicator that you guys are familiar with. But that's not the only thing that there is to Lux Algo. Of course, you guys know that part of the technical indicator with the buy and the sell signals. But we're actually going to look at a different part of it. If you have Lux Algo, then you're going to want to go into your indicators, go to your invite-only scripts, and you're going to go and look for Lux Algo premium price action concepts. That is going to give you everything that you need to look at what we're going to be looking at today. Go ahead and click that. I've already got it up. We'll bring it up ourselves. And this is the default settings for Lux Algo price action concepts. And even before we get too much into it, I just want to go ahead and give a massive shout out to my friend Sean Mack. He's the CEO, founder, and leader of Lux Algo. They have a YouTube channel over here. This video breaks down this indicator really well, straight from the creator. Make sure you watch it. But I want to break it down myself as well because it is a really cool piece of technical analysis. But first, let me just kind of back up and explain what it is. Lux Algo is an indicator that uses complex mathematical formulas to give you useful trading signals based on all kinds of data, but normally based on price action. Price action concepts, as we're going to talk about today, has a lot to do with, you guessed it, price action, not just other forms of TA, but specifically price action. So coming here into Lux Algo price action concepts, we can go ahead and hit settings, and we're going to see a plethora of different settings. Obviously, if we were to come in here and mess with every single setting, we'd be here for hours, but I want to show you some of the most useful and some of the most interesting to me. Now, they're all very useful, but I want to show you the ones that I'm really taking a close look at. First things first, let's look at the default settings. We have internal order blocks on. We'll show you what that is here in a little while. And then we also have all market structure set on in the internal system and in the swing system. That is all. You see the BOS, CHOCH, which we're going to call a chalk from here on out. And then you have the same thing up here in the internal. I want to give you a pretty brief overview of both of those things. That's what we see on the market right here. These are called the order blocks. These are the market structures giving us ideas of what's going on. So let's kind of zoom in here on the daily chart. Actually, we'll go down to the 4-hourly chart on Bitcoin and take a look at both of these. Let's start with the market structure signals themselves. These lines right here are very useful because essentially what they are doing is they're giving you an idea whenever you have broken resistance or support, and that is what is known as a BOS. So right here we have a equal high that was forming, and then very soon thereafter Bitcoin broke bullish out of it. You can see this right here is a break of structure indicating that we're breaking to the upside. That indicates bullish strength. It indicates that the bulls are in charge. You also saw the same thing happen over here, but in this case it was called a change of character. And the reason it was called a change of character is because the market was already moving to the downside. This is almost a little bit reminiscent to how a change of character will invalidate a former change of character. You have a bullish change of character like we saw right here, and a bearish change of character, which you can see right here. They reminisce to the buy and the sell signal, how a sell signal invalidates a buy signal, a buy signal invalidates a sell signal. You're never going to see two buy signals or two sell signals in a row. You're going to see one, then the other, then the other, then the other, never one, then the same, then the same. That's what we're seeing right here. You go from change of character to change of character to change of character to change of character. You can almost think of these as green buy signals and these as red buy signals, and you could even combine them with the other part of Lux Algo Premium, to get an idea of when there are almost overlapping buy and sell signals. For example, right here, we saw a red CHOCH, a chalk, come in well after the sell signal, but then the green chalk come in almost at the exact same time as the strong buy signal. So you can actually use both of those indicators to overlap each other, confirming or denying each other. And that's where a certain strategy could come in, similar to what I've always used with the buy signals over on Lux Algo, and then the trend catcher. So that's just one strategy you could use, bringing in both of them. But back to Lux Algo price action concepts, we've also got a few other things to break down on the market structure side of things here. You have things called equal lows, EQL. Very simply, this is just printing an equal low. That indicates to you that there is a baseline of support or resistance there that you're going to want to pay attention to. Similar thing here in the equal high. And the interesting thing here is that obviously, there's a lot more data here than what the market's actually than what Lux Algo is actually showing you. Obviously, there's more equal lows, more breakup structures, more change of characters than what it's showing you. If you come in here and come down to internal H and L, If you turn that on, it's going to show you all of the internal higher highs and higher lows that the market is using, that LuxAlgo is using to calculate all of these signals. You can see them right here. They're hidden because if you see every single one of them, it's going to make things a little bit confusing. But it is helpful to see whether you're seeing higher highs or higher lows. So you can come into LuxAlgo price action concepts and turn that on at any point to see where the market is setting higher highs, higher highs, higher highs, or higher lows, higher lows, higher lows, or lower lows and lower lows, depending on what you're seeing. Obviously, these were all lower lows from higher lows that had formed up here. So very useful concept, if you will. Now, moving on here, let's go ahead and take a look at the order block. Now, moving on here, let's go ahead and take a look at the order blocks. These are the three things that you're seeing on your chart right now. These have to do with volumetric data. Big word coming from the exchanges. How much buy and sell volume is going on at which region? That's what you see here with the green and the red. And where these show up is actually a much cleaner version of the previous form of this technical indicator on LuxAlgo, where there were all kinds of different order blocks that looked like this, and they looked like this, and they looked like this, and they were all over the place, and they were useful, but these are actually a lot easier to read because you're getting streamlined, so you're not having as many of them, so you're not getting stuck in paralysis of analysis as well. You're also seeing them show up at very critical regions. I mean, just even in this territory right here, we can tell this is a very important volumetric zone. Obviously, this is a very important zone because that's the local high, and then this volumetric zone is showing up because that's the actual level that we're breaking or trying to break right now. Now, obviously, I can't predict the future, but if Bitcoin were to break bearish right here below this level, or even below this level, as LuxAlgo is telling us, 16,741, that would be a bearish change of character. In fact, it actually wouldn't be a bearish change of character because we've already seen a bearish change of character, but it would be a break of structure is actually what it would be, because a break of structure comes after the change of character. I didn't mention that earlier, but the chop comes in. If you have another similar pattern, it's called a break of structure, which is basically a continuation signal. So what we would actually see if we broke down here would be a BOS, but it'd be a break of structure to the downside, so it'd be a red BOS, kind of like what we saw right here. We had already seen a red chalk right here, and then we fell to the downside. Anyway, the point is you use these chalks, you use the BOS, the equal highs, equal lows, all of this different data to give you different zones and levels that you want to pay very close attention to that the market is going to be fighting over. So what we're being told right now is that we're in a downtrend because that chalk has come into play. We failed to break above this region, and we're coming down to retest this region right now. But that's not all there is. Remember, guys, if we come in here to the technical indicator, there are tons and tons and tons of buttons in here. Far more than we have time to go over in a 10 or 15 minute video, however long this ends up being. But there are several more things that I want to show you. One of them being down here in liquidity concepts. This is a very complicated, but not very complicated. It's very in-depth, but it's actually a very simple technical indicator to use. It's been very polished. It's got a lot of polish on it. Anyway, one of the things I want to show you is the trend line liquidity concept. These are really cool. So basically, this brings together trend lines with liquidity, giving you something more useful than what you typically see, which is just a trend line that's following the local highs. That's great, but have you ever looked at a trend line and wanted to actually have a better understanding of what the actual movement is doing? And so what you may end up doing is you might draw an upper trend line, a lower trend line, then you might try and just fake a trend line right through the middle and just make it up as you go. You don't actually do that with any data. You might do it with higher highs and higher lows, and it kind of works right here with these lows right here and that high and then this breakout right there, but it doesn't really work very well. If you use LuxAlgo price action concepts, then it will do it for you automatically based on actual real data. And you can see an example of that right here. You can see that trend line moving to the upside. That has to do with volumetric data, and it also has to do with the price action itself. This is a very useful tool that's going to give you the actual trend that Bitcoin is in, so you can see what trend you should be trading with if you're trying to trade the trend, and whether or not you're trading against the trend. One more side note I want to show you is something called a liquidity grab. You can see these little blue checks right here. If we go into the indicator right here, you can come in here and click liquidity grabs. It's going to show you where the market has gone down and basically gone through a flash crash or a flash rally and grabbed a lot of liquidity and then gotten rejected. A lot of times that means you are testing a zone before you break it, as you can see right here. Last thing I'm going to show you, because again, we could go on this for hours and hours and hours, but this is one of the final things that is really, really helpful for me in my analysis. That is the premium and discount zones. I love this part of the technical indicator. And the reason I love it so much is because what this does is it gives you the equilibrium where the market is actually trading sideways around, and then it shows you the premium and the discount. The premium and the discount are set by the local highs in the sideways part of the trend, and the equilibrium is right there in the middle. So going down to the 4-hourly chart, looking at recent price action here, you'll be able to see based on this that the equilibrium level is right around this region. We're pretty much looking between 16,850 and 17,000 flat. That just so happens to coincide very well with this volumetric order block, which tells us that this region that Bitcoin is sitting in right now is extremely important. This is almost like looking at RSI being at 50, and if you fall below it, you're bearish. If you go above it, you're bullish. It's kind of like looking at VRVP and saying, hey, look, we're at the peak, and we're going to either roll up or roll down, but we're about to move, and we're about to move big time. We just don't know which way yet. The equilibrium tells us, are we in the bullish side of the market, or are we in the bearish side of the market? Right now, Bitcoin's having to make a very important decision. Are we going to break below the order block? Are we going to break below the equilibrium point? Are we going to have a break of structure breaking these equal lows that we're setting right now? If so, then we have this order block to catch us, and then we can also go all the way down here and get a 55% discount from the equilibrium, or we could rally and go all the way up here to a 45% premium from the equilibrium level. That's not 45 or 55% based on price action, because of course if you fell down here, it's only negative 7%. It has a lot to do with the algorithm that is running LuxAlgo in the background. And of course, that's going to change updating with the chart. So if we hit replay and we come over here, the equilibrium isn't going to be at that level. Instead, the equilibrium is going to be right about here. You can see the equilibrium was right here. So during this time, we were well above equilibrium, well up into the bullish territory, indicating we were either going to reset a sideways zone up here, or we were going to fall down. In this case, FTX went bankrupt, and we saw the market fell down, of course, because if we go ahead and zoom forward, of course, the market fell off a cliff. But that was a fundamental movement. Point is, and this is really what I want you to know, LuxAlgo is really cool, and it's got a ton of features, and I just want to share a few of them with you. Again, I can't go over every single one of them. I'm going to be integrating this a lot more into our daily technical analysis over on Coffee and Crypto, but expect that to be coming a much more part of the LuxAlgo coverage here on the channel, but also expect me to be using it a lot more just where you guys can see it wherever. I would really appreciate if you guys checked out the link down below and signed up for LuxAlgo and got access to price action concepts, because you guys know about LuxAlgo Premium. I use it all the time, but you guys have not seen much of LuxAlgo price action concepts. And if you guys don't know, LuxAlgo is constantly growing. They have a huge community of over 30,000 traders over on their exclusive Discord. So get the indicator today. Get access to LuxAlgo price action concepts, LuxAlgo Premium, Lux Oscillator, all of the indicators, the massive community, and all the tools that you're going to use to better yourself as a trader and investor. Check them out. The link in the description box down below. Really appreciate all of you tuning in. Peace.